Welcome back to the Mortgage Broker Podcast. Today, we're thrilled to introduce Behind the Broker, a new series dedicated to spotlighting the remarkable brokers within a Better Way Mortgage Group. This series will go beyond the surface, diving into each broker's journey, strategies, and insights that set them apart in the industry. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, each episode will provide you with practical tools, actionable tips, and proven tactics directly from those making an impact in the field. Get ready to learn from some of the best as we explore what it truly takes to thrive as a mortgage broker. In episode 1, we're joined by Vik Sahi, who shares some incredible insights into his approach. What stands out the most is how he leverages his powerful relationship building tactics to deliver an outstanding client experience that also drives remarkable growth for his business. Now let's pass it off to Vik and hope you enjoy. Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, tailor-made for Canadian mortgage industry professionals. Proudly presented by a Better Way Mortgage Group, this podcast is your trusted source for insider insights, market updates, and strategies to elevate your career in the ever-evolving world of mortgage brokering. Whether you're a seasoned broker with a Better Way Mortgage Group or an industry enthusiast looking to stay ahead, our episodes are designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the Canadian mortgage space. All right, we're back for another episode of the Mortgage Broker Podcast, and super excited to have Vik Sahi with us today, one of our top producers at a Better Way Mortgage Group. This whole series is focused on you, the broker. This is Behind the Broker series, and yeah, we're just really excited to get into it. Talk about a little bit about who you are, your background, and we're going to get into some key strategies that you use to impact your business, and we'll wrap up with some tools. Tips and tactics from you, and Jason's here as well, and so we're just looking to have just a good discussion on what makes you tick and why you're in the mortgage business. So
always good to be here with you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. So why don't we just start there? Like, what led you to start your career in this crazy industry?
People come from a sports household, a religious household. I actually come from a finance household. Both my parents were bankers for decades. My brothers are in finance or worked at a bank. At a really young age, was taught how to use credit and build your credit properly. Once I got my first job, how to create a savings account and budget. And then as I got older, how to invest small scale. Now it's a bigger scale investments. But stuff that I'm really fortunate for because I think that's what, at least when we were going to school, they weren't teaching that. I think that's maybe the most important subject you should be teaching the youth right now. So it always came second nature to me, being in that household. I mean, my fiance, she always gets aggravated if we go back, have dinner with my family for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and we're just talking shop. Like, we get together, we start talking about, bond yields, inflation, how's your investments doing? What's the real estate market looking like? And for somebody who's not, doesn't care as much, it could get kind of annoying, but it was just second nature for me. So for me to grow up and now be able to educate and help others with it is a total blessing for me.
Was that a tough sell for mom and dad to get you into it? Like, did you have another path you wanted to go and they pulled you in, or is it stuff that you always thought that, hey, I'm hearing all these conversations in the house, that's what I want to do? Or did they have to put the screws to you and sell you for it?
No, that's what I always knew I'd come back to that at some point. Even if I didn't have a job in finance, I love real estate. I'd be investing in some way. Actually, when I graduated university, when I was in high school, I was super passionate about writing and reading and talking. So I really want to be a news anchor, like a radio host, sports anchor. And after I graduated university, I actually ended up working for a big media firm in Vancouver for 7 years as a morning show radio host. It was a super cool experience. I did that for a bit, but as I got a little bit older, that entrepreneur, in the back of my mind was kicking in. It's like, I want to work for myself. I want to build something. I want to bet on myself a little bit. So then at that point, I kind of made the decision to, on the side, get my mortgage broking license. And I was actually doing both at the same time. So I'd wake up at 3 a.m. I'd go downtown. I'd work the radio show till about 10 a.m., 10, 11 a.m. And then I'd come home and just start working my broker business till about 7, 8 at night. So I was working long hours at that time until the broker business started getting going, and then eventually made the decision to just go full into this. First year, as soon as I started, I was rookie of the year here at a Better Way. So first year was good, but I didn't kind of pull the plug on the radio thing just yet. I'm like, let's just see if, because I got in a hot market. It was hot. Everybody was making money in that market, right? So let's just see if this works another year. And then the second year, it just kept going up, and then finally made a decision to go all in this, and it's the best decision I ever made in my life.
That's cool. I mean, like the entrepreneurial like drive in you the mortgage industry just complements that so well,
Yeah.
especially given that you grew up in this financial family with all the, all the history that your family has there and the experience. Like it's pretty cool. Like given this industry, just there is no real ceiling here, right? Like
No.
sky is the limit. And I think that's what motivates a lot of people to one, get in this business and stay in this business and keep trying to get better. Cause like
100%.
that's part of it. You always just got to keep getting better and refine your process and whatnot. What, like, just given that, like what motivates you to continue as a mortgage broker and keep getting better?
I truly love all aspects of brokering. I like, I'm knee deep in files. I like to underwrite. I like to go back and forth to the lender. I like to, create a strategy for the client. I like every single aspect of brokering, but take the brokering side out of it. I think for me personally, waking up every single day, like what is our job? We wake up every single day and we just try to build connections with other humans. So like either build on a connection that's already existing, or try to go and find other connections, and then ultimately it leads to you helping them with the biggest purchase of their life. I mean, not to be dramatic, but this is life changing what we're doing when someone purchases the biggest investment of their life, and you have a part of that. I mean, if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what's going to wake you up, right?
No doubt. Yeah.
You think about the all walks of life and different personality types and different people that are in multiple different situations, that you can help them out, get out of something bad and get into something really good. And I think people sometimes really underestimate just how much a good mortgage broker and financial professional can do. And that's what gets me going too, is watching guys like you and working with people and helping them help other people get into what they want to do and kind of where they want to go in life. So I love that.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's like you just think of, I mean, that's obviously a huge influential piece of your business and what keeps you motivated. Outside of that, and especially your family and the experience there, like what would you say is the biggest factor that has influenced your business today?
Most people know that an independent broker is a free service to clients. Like we essentially work for free until we don't work for free, right? So I think with a lot of brokers, when they get a lead or a client, you might not want to waste as much time on them. You might just want to see if they're actually going to proceed with you, and then then start to put in the effort. For me, since the day I started, is instilled in me. My process is from the get-go, the client knows what they're getting. I think that's really, really helped me and throughout my career. Like we booked the first discovery call with a client. I get a lead, I get booked a discovery call. On that call, write down notes about their whole situation, ask all the questions I need to ask, any questions that they have, answer all of them, and then let them know. You'll have my email here in a second. You have my phone, text me, call me, make sure you're always available to the client so the client's comfortable there. For after our call, I'll send you our document portal, drop in all the requested documents, and from there, I'll underwrite the file and create your pre-approval for you, essentially, and we'll book a follow-up call. When we book the follow-up call, it's not, I don't just call the client, yeah, you're pre-approved for 600,000, go shopping, come back to me when you find a place. On that follow-up call, it's me and the client and all borrowers, and we have I created a detailed spreadsheet for the client that goes over every single scenario that they're interested in: insured mortgages compared to conventional mortgages, what the rates, what the budget, what's the monthly payments, if you paid off your car loan, if you don't pay off your car loan, if it's one borrower, if it's two borrower, every single closing cost to expect. After that call, the client is so convinced in you and trusts you and the knowledge and the professional that you are that they basically put you in the driver's seat. It's like, hey, Vic's going to take care of me, run with this. And it's a little bit more effort at the beginning for free, but it pays off at the end. I think that's one thing. I started when I didn't have as many clients and you had a little more time on your hands. Now, as I have a lot more clients and really, really busy, I really put it in my head to not take any shortcuts, and don't try to just because you're busy, make sure you still do that with every single client, because the chances of that client leaving you after that second call is really low, because you've installed so much confidence in them.
Is it this process that you're speaking of? Is that something that you adopted right off the bat getting into it? Or did you go through an initial process that you started that you realized you had to change to keep to keep things flowing in the right direction? Like, was this a pivot thing or just something that you started right away learning from perhaps your family that was kind of helping you get into it?
Yeah, I started that right away. My first client, I was so giddy to get my, you get your first mortgage client, you just got your license, you get your first client, you put in all the homework on them, get their situation. I was really good at Excel at that time, so creating spreadsheets was the way I learned. So I think that my clients will learn that way as well. When you visualize it, when you look at it, numbers start to come a little bit stronger to you. So I started that from the initial client, and it worked well. And then I just kind of adapted the process and got a little more detailed as my skills got more refined. And that's my bread and butter. Yeah, there's times where the client goes somewhere else, and you've now put in a lot of effort. And you work for free, but 95% of the time you are closing the client, and also you're just creating an amazing systematic experience for a client rather than a disorganized one.
Just based on your approach, your educational approach, how you service your clients by setting expectations, I would have to imagine there's been some memorable experiences for your clients and you in that case. Like, is there a memorable client success story that you could share, or just some general feedback there?
I think using that streamline system, there's going to be a lot more success stories than negative stories, and actually, there's not many. There's no negative stories actually if we're taken away from it. But for me personally, I don't wish this on any client. But when a client is dealing with a bank or a broker, and they are using, let's say they're working 9 to 5, and they're getting back to the client, every other day, and then when the pre-approval process is really disorganized, they're asking for documents later, or missing emails, and then with the process, they're just giving them kind of a pre-approval number, not really budgeting things for them. When a client does that, has that experience, and then if they fall to you through a second opinion, some clients, a realtor brings them over, or they just Google you. The clients that I get actually when I do a second opinion for them, that's when they're actually blown away, because they've had this experience, and now they come over to my experience where we really do care about the client. We get to know the client on the first discovery call, ask every question I need to know. Even on the personal side, I'll ask, this client is a human being just like myself, right? Yeah, the mortgage process can be dull and boring if you don't care about it. So for me, on that discovery call, it's not only to get your mortgage related info, but I actually want to know who you are as a human being. Does a client like maybe sports? Do you like cooking, traveling? Do they have a family at home? Because the more you get to know about that client, even outside of just their income and their debt, it makes the process a lot better for everybody, and just makes it much more fun, because you're gonna be working together for a few weeks, months, years. You might as well get to know each other really well, and if you can get a friendship out of a mortgage, that's the best experience as well for me.
I mean, there's a human element to everything,
Yeah.
right? If the person that you're working with is feeling comfortable with you, and you're uncovering, perhaps what their goals are down the road, if it's a single person that is looking to get married and have a family and have a kids, and you kind of know that whole snapshot of that person's goals down the road, and A, that makes them more comfortable with you as their broker and to open up and tell you these things, but B, that's probably going to be a client for life, because they're always going to come back, and that you could create the roadmap that's going to get them to the place that they want to go down the road. And I think that's a massively important task that you have as a broker, is to not only figure out the today, you have to figure out the tomorrow as well.
100%. And not only will that be a client for life, but that will be a referral client for life as well. I mean, my business is grown rapidly, and the bread and butter of it is referrals. Like, referrals are a huge thing for me. I want to make sure every single experience is 100% smooth, so that client can refer me and have nothing but great things to say about me. And a lot of my clients, after we're done the process, we become friends. Like this weekend, actually, I'm clients moving in, having a housewarming party plus a Diwali party, and I was invited. And I'm going to go, and I'm going to get to know their friends. And it's just so fun when you can become friends with clients, because they're gonna be your marketing for you.
That's huge. Yeah, like that's something that it does go a long way, and to be able to build those types of relationships, of course they're going to recommend you. The fact that you're getting invited to a party, now you're influenced into that whole network. Yeah. That's massive, and that's just the success of what that will bring is unknown, but I imagine it's going to be huge, right? So that's pretty cool that you have that ability to connect like that. Before we kind of wrap up, we'll wrap up with some of your tools, tips, and tactics. Things that make your business really move and shake. But before we do, I just wouldn't mind just touching on some of the day-to-day operations and what does a typical day look like for you currently?
I'm a huge believer that your day has to start on outside of work, has to start with the right mind frame. So for me, it's waking up, it's hitting the gym immediately. Like I gotta hit the gym, and I gotta fuel my body to be right. Write down my goals, make sure every single thing I have planned for that day is written in front of me, and then start checking off the tasks. The hardest tasks at the top, the not as urgent tasks at the bottom, and start ripping through those tasks. And that's just the way I work. I'm just an organized person in that sense, where I need to see it in front of me, I need to visualize it, and then there's goals that you have in months, years, but it starts in the day. Every single day, you need to conquer every single day, and it starts by every single second of every single hour. So for me, it's just it's waking up, doing stuff outside of work before work hours start. To make sure I'm prepared, my body, my mind is prepared, and then having an organized checklist to start getting through. And then from there, 9 a.m. is there, and the banks are open, the clients are awake. Everyone. Then the rat race kind of starts, right? But if you start your morning getting prepared to enter that, it will help you out throughout the day.
I love what you said there about your task list and putting the hard tasks first. I think if you leave the hard tasks to the end of the day, it kind of puts you into a bit of a rocky start at the beginning, because you have the impending hard things to do that you don't want to do at the end of the day. So I love the fact that you do the hard task first, because once you check off those, immediately tough things that you have to do, the rest of the day is smooth sailing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, typically you just won't do them if you don't do them first, right? So,
Yeah.
And again, the hard ones are what helps you move forward and achieve those big goals. And so maybe I'll just quickly touch on some personal development. That's, how you maintain your work-life balance that's a huge part of it. But what would you say, what keeps you motivated and growing as a professional to keep moving forward and keep getting, doing more?
For me, I mean, if I'm being fully transparent, when I would say my second year as a mortgage broker, it was more of a dollar figure. I want to hit a certain dollar figure in this business, and that would prove to me that I'm successful and this is a good business. As it's kind of gone on, and I'm year 5 now, and when you're hitting those dollar figure goals, you guys probably feel the exact same way. That's not really what you get up for. That's not really what drives you. It's more so on just building what you have already created with the client base that you have. So for me, it's not about the dollar figure more anymore. It's about that client base and how can I continue to have it grow? How can I just have the client base I have right now, but start touching more people into different groups and expanding that and creating more relationships? Because that's the definition of a successful life, is just having a massive network and value that you can help every single person in this network and play a part in their lives.
It definitely hits home with me. That's definitely an approach I would take as well. So appreciate that response. So let's maybe wrap up now with some of the tools, tips, and tactics that you implement in your business. Like what tools or software are essential to your daily work?
The short 3-letter thing, the short form. And if you're not doing this as a broker, you need to, or any entrepreneur, is a CRM.
Yeah.
You need a CRM. I know it's repetitive. Every single entrepreneur or broker that's doing well is going to talk about a CRM, but you need a CRM. I mean, my first year, when you don't have as many clients, you probably can get past without a CRM with, just notes on a computer. But as you get busier and everything is dialed in your CRM, I'm using a CRM. Put touch points in your CRM. For me, any single person I meet, any email I get, any phone number I get, it's going in the CRM. And if I can get a birthday, I'll throw it in there. Any information I get, I can throw it in the CRM, because when it's Thanksgiving coming up this weekend, or it's Christmas, or it's the birthday, or it's whatever day, you're throwing it out to clients, and you're becoming a touch point. And nobody has the brain capacity to do that. The CRM is going to do it for you, make your life a lot easier.
Best time to start a CRM is not a year in, not 2 years in. It's right away.
Right away.
I like what you said about just throwing data into that CRM. It doesn't have to be a funded application. Like,
Yeah.
just get people in the CRM, get your list in there,
Yeah.
get your contact points set out. Doing it to start, I think, is best practice. You don't want to be fumbling around 2-3 years into the business trying to comb through everything that you've done in the past
Yeah.
and then start uploading it. Just get it done right at the beginning.
100%.
To me, it's a no-brainer. It's kind of crazy that we even talk about this, but it's remarkable. I mean, we have almost 300 plus agents within our brokerage, and we talk to agents on a daily basis that don't have one, and it's shocking to me. And it's like, to me, it's like that would just be a terrible way to live life without it.
100%.
It's like it is your guiding path. It's like it's
Yeah.
everything, right? It keeps you organized and feel good about what you're actually doing, and you're building blocks and putting all that effort into it. You got to keep it somewhere, right?
And it makes it easier for the client as well. Like with your CRM, when you're doing a file for a client, if they're getting notifications that, hey, the file has been submitted, it's been approved, this is what's left, this is the funding date. A client is dealing with their job, their life, their kids, their family. They don't have time to worry about what they need to do for their mortgage. That's your job.
Yeah.
So if we can organize them, and it's just as simple as as possible, they're gonna have an amazing experience. And when they have an amazing experience, we have an amazing experience.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Okay, so maybe let's, if you don't mind, can you share a tip or strategy that's been a game changer for your business?
For me, and I've kind of hit home on this many times, but this is the bread and butter of my business is, and I would say this to any young broker starting. I think brokers, when they start, they're like, I need to sell mortgages. I need to find a client where I can sell a mortgage to. I need to get, any single client, go through the mortgage process and just sell them on a mortgage. But why don't you take the mortgage part out of it? Let's just forget we're brokers for a second and just try to build human connections with people. Just try to make friendships. Just try to network. Anywhere you go, try to meet a person today. Try to make get a number, make a phone call, follow someone on Instagram, like do anything that you could do to make a connection. Like, if someone has pets and you have pets as well, make a connection with them, Instagram, DM them, talk about their pets a little bit. If they like food, make a connection with them on that. If they like sports, use what you actually like to build a connection with other people, because most people are not thinking about mortgages. We're thinking about mortgages every single day. Most people are not thinking about mortgages until it's time to get a mortgage. But if you already built a human personal connection and you have a friendship going with that client, when it gets time for them to get a mortgage or somebody else that they know to get a mortgage, you're going to be on top of mind because you're not sitting there waiting and selling them on a mortgage. You've just organically built a connection with that person. And then, you'll at least get the opportunity to work for them. And if you're good at what you do, you'll obviously get the mortgage out of that.
I can't say that any better. I mean, human connection and being nice, saying hello, introducing yourself. The more people that we get in front of and the more value that we bring, the better things are going to go and the more probably fulfilled you're going to feel as a person as well. So I love that answer and I'm completely on the same page.
Here's one I think a lot of people listening would appreciate, because this comes up a lot, and especially now there's so many changes in our industry. How do you stay updated on industry trends and ultimately improve your skills to keep up with that?
That's one I got to give you guys credit on. I mean, you, Jason, and Derek, you guys are really evolved DLC a better way. DLC a better way is one of the biggest firms in Canada. That's also the reason I love being here. We're surrounded by so many successful mortgage agents, but with you guys taking over, you guys have evolved this firm more with like the amount of webinars you guys are putting in, the amount of lender calls you're doing, the weekly emails, the access. You guys have guided that a little bit for me, and I really appreciate that. By the way, I didn't have a chance to say that, but for me personally, on the other side is I'm just a nerd about it as well. I mean, I'm always reading up, whether it's even if it's just Twitter. My Twitter feed's all industry stuff. I'm constantly reading up on it and just making sure that I know every single change with the mortgage landscape, the real estate landscape. Also have peers in the industry, talking to them, just being engaged. That's one of the questions where if you just wake up and you're in the business and you're working in the business with people and you're surrounded by people in the business, you're naturally just going to stay on top of the industry because this is what you're doing day in and day out. So when a client who's not in the industry comes in, it's second nature for you.
Oh, well, thanks, man. We obviously appreciate that. I mean, born salesman and recruiter for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, and that's kind of the goal. I mean, you want to educate the clients and we want to educate the brokers. And I think this industry has no shortage of it. And it's up to us to find out where the good information, where the good sources are. And I mean, staying up to date on everything is part of our job, right? And I know you're complete professional that's always up to date on what's going on out there. And, I mean, that's, your numbers speak for themselves. And that's probably why you're rookie of the year and one of our fastest growing brokers.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you said a couple things that hit home for me. I mean, like, obviously we appreciate those kind words, but it takes a group, and like we are so fortunate to be surrounded by some of the best in the industry in this brokerage, and the willingness to share and collaborate is cool. Cause like when I first got in this business almost 15 years ago, it wasn't like that. Like people held their cards close to their chest, and like they weren't willing to share. They weren't willing to do a show like this and share everything that they have. Right. We've always taken the approach is if you share, you almost, it almost becomes a sense where you learn as you're sharing, because you want to refine and be better to make sure you can keep going and getting to that next level. And when you're open to share like that, others will open up to you too. So I appreciate that. And you mentioned another thing, like being a nerd in this industry. It was funny. We had lunch with Dustin Woodhouse recently, and we were joking around with him, and he's like, "It's kind of cool to be a nerd in this business."
Yeah, it is. This is like, being around you guys who have a lot more experience than me, and picking your brain. And one of the reasons I wanted to join DLC a better way. I know a lot of the young brokers that are in smaller firms, and they like it that way because it's a little more family style, and whatnot. I wanted to implement myself into this specific brokerage right away because some of the biggest names in Canada are here. And if I can get, in connection with them and pick their brain and just be surrounded by them, naturally, I'm just going to do better in my business as well. Right. And you guys are some of them.
Totally. All right. Well, the one thing I want to kind of wrap here with is, if you could take yourself today and go back and have a conversation with yourself from the day you started, is there anything you would tell the rookie Vik on what to maybe do differently?
I mean, I had a pretty good rookie year, so but if I had to change something and start even earlier, I think when you get your license, you kind of just been reading a textbook up at that point. You haven't dealt with anybody's real life situation. You just reading a textbook and wrote a course and got a degree in it. But I was a little hesitant at first to kind of refine my skills and kind of learn the business a little more before I put myself face to face with clients. If you want to speed track things, you need to do real life examples right away. You need to, like, if you fail, like you fail. Okay. If you don't know the answer to a question, the client asks you a question and you don't know the answer because you're a rookie broker. Hey, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll find it. I'll get back to you. That's still professional.
Yeah.
That's still professional. And now, but just put yourself into, like, throw yourself in there. I had the opportunity to do this. I was shadowing some senior brokers. I would do that right away if I was a junior broker, and I did that. And I would recommend that to anyone. Shadow a senior, successful broker, because that's the fastest way you're going to learn. Not by yourself. It's going to be through somebody who's already done it.
Awesome point. I mean, like listening in on their phone calls, how they operate, what they do, like kind of learning from that person. And I mean, this all goes back to the sharing thing that we've spoken about. I mean, the top brokers in this industry are always willing to share and always willing to learn. And I think that's a great point is just listen and learn. And if you have the opportunity, sit down with somebody and take some tips away.
All right. Last piece here. This is, I found, like, if I put my goals out there, I tell people, hey, this is what I want to achieve. I find if I actually verbalize it, I achieve it. My success of achieving it, it just goes up for whatever reason.
Yeah.
What are your...
Now you've said it to somebody, you can't fail.
Exactly. So what are your goals for next year?
My goals for next year, get up the ranks in our firm a little bit more, pass a little bit of those senior brokers. No, I'm just kidding. For me, it's getting to a place, I think, when I first started and built this business, I feel like I was working quite a bit in the business. I want to try to turn this thing, now that I've built the pipeline, to get in a little bit more of a work-life balance at the end of the day. Like, I am a mortgage broker. I love being a mortgage broker. I wake up every single day as a mortgage broker. But I'm not just a mortgage broker, right? So I think that's the optimal, as an entrepreneur, that's the optimal goal, is like how can you be the top of your game as a business owner, but also live the life that you want to live. And I feel like this year, at the back half of this year, I've started to do that a little bit with the systems that I have, and I just want to hone in and start doing a little bit more next year to, grow my business, but also live my life a little bit while doing it.
I mean, I not much to say about that, man. I mean, I just looked at a bunch of pictures of you traveling into Italy and you're freshly engaged and all that.
This doesn't stop. You guys know it doesn't stop.
So I think you're doing it, and I think you're eating your own cooking there. So good on you, man.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you so much for doing this, dude. Like, we really appreciate it. You were awesome and willing to share like that. It's great. So thank you, and
thank you guys.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring you back if you'll come back.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I love this, man.
Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Lastly, a vital announcement about Backpack Buddies, our chosen charity for 2024. This remarkable organization addresses a hidden hunger issue many are unaware of. In British Columbia, while school districts provide meals during school hours, numerous children face food scarcity at home, particularly during weekends. Backpack Buddy steps in to support these vulnerable children, ensuring they have easy to prepare, familiar food for weekends. This is achieved through collaborations with schools and an extensive distribution network. Your contribution can make a significant difference. With just $20, you can give a child in need a food bag from Backpack Buddies filled with enough meals and snacks to sustain them over the weekend and more. Once again, thank you for listening, and see you on the next one.